What's up guys, welcome back to Saint Seiya Awakening. We're back for another S-Saint review and today's turn is SCYLLA Ayo. I'm not sure how you say his name, SCYLLA, alright? Now, even though this guy doesn't have an S under his name, believe me when I tell you, he absolutely is. This guy does so many different things. He attacks, he heals, he stuns. He's basically a one-man army, and much more deserving of an S rank than other Marinas. But anyway, let's not get into that argument about who's better. Let's just go ahead and look at his skills. His first one, unlike many other Saints in the game, actually does something besides a little bit of damage. It starts with an 80% multiplier of the physical type, but if he already has his Devil Snake summoned, he also heals for 80% of his physical attack, plus whatever healing we can get on him through Cosmo. And speaking of the Infernal Snake, that's what his second skill does, SCYLLA. He can summon a Banshee that inherits all of his attributes. A lot of the other units that summon like extra stuff on the battlefield in the game only summon them with some of their attributes. This, I think, is the only one that comes out full power. Other than being born with just 15% of SCYLLA's max HP at the start, he actually inherits all of his attributes, all of his attack, all of his speed, all of his defense, etc, etc. He's born with 15% HP, but you can heal him to max, so he ends up having the same amount of life as his boss does, as the main character, SCYLLA. It costs 2 energy to summon him, and when we do, he's going to randomly attack one of the enemy units. In subsequent rounds, he will attack the same target that the main character attacks, and it costs no energy. So he is an amazingly cheap unit to run. You only use 2 energy on the first round, and as long as you can keep your snake alive, he'll keep attacking with 0 energy cost, doing massive damage and having a chance to stun. His third skill is called Soul of Sacrifice, and it's not one that's used too often. The main character SCYLLA can absorb his Banshee that he summoned and heal for 300% of his physical attack. This is really only used in desperate measures. I've personally never used it in PvP. It's always better to have the snake out doing as much damage and control as possible. So when you sacrifice him, you can summon him again in the next turn, but it's going to cost you 2 energy again, and it'll attack a random target instead of who you choose. And that brings us to the fourth skill, his passive, which I think has the longest skill description in the entire game, other than maybe Hades. I'm not gonna read all of this, because that would be a waste of time. You can read it yourself and you'll get a better understanding, but to shorten it, this thing has a chance to poison, to do multiple attacks up to 6 times. It has a chance to heal itself, it has guaranteed crits, and it has a massive 270% physical nuke. Now, the way that you get the most out of SCYLLA and the most out of his skills is undoubtedly by upgrading his 4th skill. When you get this thing to max level, all of the 6 types of beasts, it lists them right here, there's 6 beasts total, you unlock all of them, and all of them can do something in every single turn. It's ridiculous. And this is what makes him so good. There's no way to know exactly what he's gonna do. I mean, he can be good, but he can also betray you sometimes, because you're counting maybe in a pivotal moment of the fight, you're counting on a stun, and you're like, okay, SCYLLA, you got this. And then it turns out it doesn't proc that beast skill, and you're pretty much screwed. But anyway, that makes him a fun RNG unit as well. It's not only good, it's fun to use. If you do manage to max this 4th skill, and you should be able to do it after a while since he's only an A rank character, then you can move on to maxing the second one, so that the snake is born with a little bit more HP and it has a higher chance of surviving extra rounds. After it gets a couple of attacks in, it can heal itself to full HP, making it just as hard to kill as the main character. Moving on to his Cosmo, keep in mind that the snake inherits all of the attributes from SCYLLA, so you're going to want to stack as much attack, as much HP, and as much speed as possible to make sure that you move first, and therefore your snake moves first, and that it can also stay alive long enough to do damage and control. Under red, the classic options for physical attackers are still the same. You have Physical Stone, and you have Fire Drop. In my case, I went with Physical Stone because all of my best Fire Drop Cosmo is already equipped on Doko, and I think Milo and Pisces, so there wasn't that much left when we got to SCYLLA, therefore he is on Physical Stone, but either one of them should work fine. In Lunar, we want to stack as much HP as possible. As always, the best options for that are Tenacity and Bloom. Both of those give you 2 HP boost. One of them gives you physical defense, the other one gives you Cosmo defense. SCYLLA doesn't benefit from Seiya because his debuffs don't depend on status hit. If it procs, meaning that the skill activates or that beast activates, then it's gonna happen. You don't need to worry about increasing his status hit. In Star, there's a really rough choice between going for a lot of speed or increasing the peak crit level. In my case, again, most of my peak crit level is on other physical attackers, so I went with speed, and I think it actually works really well with him because he's not there just for damage. Remember, he's a damage unit, but he's also a really efficient control unit. If you can move before the enemy nukers, you can control them, preventing the damage coming towards you, and overall, I think it gives him a little bit more usefulness. Under Legendary, there is a Cosmo designed specifically for summoned units. That would be SCYLLA's Banshee, or Isaac's Tentacles, or the dead people from Cancer, whatever the heck they're called, and that is Equinox Flower. This increases the attack by 20% and the max HP by 10% for summoned units. So that snake ends up with even better stats than the main character SCYLLA does. The main attribute for this Cosmo is also speed, speed, which works perfectly for him, as I just mentioned. If you can control before the enemy moves, then you're halfway to winning the fight. Another legendary Cosmo that the game itself suggests is actually Hephaestus armor, and I quite agree with this one. It can be very useful, because in a lot of fights, SCYLLA is so annoying that your enemy is going to try to get rid of it as soon as possible. Now, the big damage dealers, the guys that can get him out of there in 1 or 2 hits, are going to be physical attackers. If they crit you, you're going to generate a shield equal to 15% of your HP to protect you until somebody can heal you, or the snake itself can heal you, and survive one more round and possibly turn the fight around. Still though, the main stat here is HP, which will increase your survivability, but I much prefer speed, and I prefer boosting the snake stats. So I would go with Equinox as choice 1 and Hephaestus as choice 2. In substats, we're looking for all the usual attributes we want on physical attackers, but especially important on SCYLLA are HP and speed. Obviously, you want some physical attack, peak crit level, peak crit effect, but HP to ensure that SCYLLA stays alive and speed to ensure that you move before the enemy are crucial to him. This is just a sample Cosmo from Doko to show you some pretty substats, but that's not exactly what you're looking for. If you manage to find some resistance, that could go really well as well, but don't go too crazy trying to look for it. Just focus on survivability, speed, and some attack. Now let's talk about teams. This beast of a beast man, son of a beast, pretty much goes anywhere because he fulfills several functions. He can be a really good DPS, a really good attacker. He also controls, and he plays especially well with double turns from Luna because he can summon his Banshee on the first move and start doing damage to the unit that you choose right away with the second move. It also has the potential to stun 2 enemy targets with 0 energy cost after the first round. You can use him to supplement an already really good control team to bring more control and damage. You can also use him in a super aggressive lineup. He can contribute to the damage again and control enemy units. He's good in PvP, he's good in PvE. This guy is pretty much good everywhere. He really is an amazing unit, and I'm very glad that they decided to make him an async because that makes him accessible. Everybody can summon him, everybody can skill him up after a little while. It's a lot more likely that you're going to pull some dupe A's than you're going to pull some dupe S's. So I'm really glad he's here in this rank. Although he definitely deserves his S, it makes it easier for people to get him and use him effectively. Now going back to the energy consumption, because he doesn't use any energy after summoning his Banshee, he goes really well with low energy consumption teams, or for example somebody like Pisces. He doesn't use any energy, so all of that is going to be left for Pisces to use at the end of the round. That's a really strong combination. You can also use him to control and attack on the first few rounds, while for example Doko gets his stacks, and once he has them he can unleash the dragons while this guy keeps doing the control. One thing to keep in mind about him is that SCYLLA, the main character, and the Banshee are 2 completely separate entities. So for example, an attack buff from Nachi, if you give it to SCYLLA, the Banshee will not benefit from that buff. Same thing if you steal attack with data loss and you give it to the main character SCYLLA, then the Banshee is not going to benefit. However, this is also a really good thing, because that means that there's 2 units that the enemy has to control. Fighting with SCYLLA is almost like using 7 Saints instead of 6. If SCYLLA gets controlled, the Banshee still attacks on its own. It'll choose a random target and do what he needs to do. And if the snake gets controlled, then SCYLLA can simply dissolve it, summon it again, and start using it right away. It makes it really hard to deal with, and it works quite well against control teams. His weaknesses in the game are really not that many, but one that I will mention that is probably his biggest one is that he is rather squishy. He only has a C in HP, a C in physical defense, and a B in Cosmo defense. This makes him pretty easy to kill. He'll die with 1 shot for Mayoros, for example, for sure. If he dies, the snake dies, and there goes everything. His speed is also not amazing, so that's why I mentioned equipping some speed Cosmo on him. Otherwise, he's going to move too far towards the end of the turn, and there's a really high chance that the enemy will be able to kill him or control him before he can summon the Banshee. Another thing that doesn't affect him after he summons the Banshee is silence. Once that snake is on the field, silence is completely useless against him. If you silence SCYLLA, all he really does is use his basic attack, and then the snake attacks the same target. And if you silence the Banshee, it has no effect whatsoever. All of the skills can still proc, and that's really about it. There are no other glaring weaknesses that he has other than, well, the RNG factor, because the skill, the activation is not 100%. There's a 25% chance that each one of the beasts will activate. If they don't activate it, for example, you need to stun somebody that turn, and you're counting on SCYLLA to do it, there is a chance that it doesn't happen. So there is some RNG involved, which makes him really strong, really hard to predict, and also really fun, because it can go amazingly well or it can go horribly wrong. Alright, and that's enough talk about Mr. SCYLLA. Let's see him in action. Unlike the Spanish review in which we played a previous fight that we had already recorded, today we're going to go live to Arena and we're going to see if we can get a win. We're at a really high level, so it's going to be rough, but we're going to see if we can get a win using SCYLLA for damage and control. Obviously, I'm going to surround him with other good Saints. He's not going to be able to solo the teams at the level that I'm at, but we're going to go for it, and I hope we can get a win. Alright, here we go. I've identified this guy. He has an aggressive lineup with Saga, Doko, there's a data loss in there, there's also a June. So we're going to use a strategy that actually came up today on stream while we were trying to do Athena Trial. and it was to purposely make my Luna slower and give a double turn to Nero Priest for double silence. Now, I am gonna have to bring Kiki here, because if I don't bring Kiki, I'm not gonna have enough energy to do what I need to do. Actually, there's a lot I need to bring here. I am not quite sure how we're gonna manage to bring everything we need to bring. What are you doing here, Tome? Excuse me, Senor Tome. We go like this, we got June, we got double silence, we got SCYLLA for stuns, hopefully. And by the third turn, we are going to be able to use Doko with full stacks and hopefully kill something. Now, in the meantime, I am going to try to get as much control as possible with my SCYLLA. We're going no heal against this level 45 account. I'm not quite sure this is going to work, but we are going to try, because that's what we do. Here I can double silence and I can get my snake out, and hopefully, if we're really lucky, we'll get a stun on this June, or Data Loss, or Saga. Any three of these would be fantastic. So, first turn, when I pull up my snake, all I do is I summon it, and it randomly attacks Kiki. Fantastic. That's exactly what I needed. Snake. It's exactly what I needed. We're half dead already. This is a race against time, and it's not looking good. Let me see if I can get rid of something to work. Please stun. Come on, Snakey. Stun. Only 3 attacks? Really? Oh, shit, Snakey. You're failing. This is supposed to be your showcase. I don't think we can win this anymore. Can we? Please stun this Saga, bro. Oh, will you not stun him, man? We're dead. Should we try again? How much does it cost? 25 diamonds! We gotta beat this guy though now. Now it's a matter of honor. We need Juna, because if not, enemy Doko just wipes us. But we're gonna go a little bit less aggressive. We're not gonna go with Luna. We're gonna go with Marine for heals. And we're gonna bring our own Data Loss. We're gonna play a slightly longer game. Hopefully we can get some stuns with SCYLLA this time. Once Doko has stacks, we should be okay. So round 1, I am going to Vine, Silence, and Heal. That's what we're gonna do round 1. Because we're only gonna have... We have 3 energy, yeah, thank god. I thought I put my June on Marsh. We're not gonna use this, I'm just gonna use the default attack, break his attack a little bit with the basic Cosmo, and we're gonna silence this Data Loss. I do not want to be weakened by this Data Loss, at all. I'd rather take the nuke from Saga, because I can heal, rather than getting debuffed by this Data Loss. That would be the worst thing that can happen to us. Alright, nice, we already have 3 dragons. Holy crap, we already have 3 dragons. And here, the number 1 mission, I think, is going to be to get rid of this Saga. Because after that, if I have Juna, then Doko is not really too big of a concern. Now we have enough energy. I can do this. I am going to continue to silence Data Loss, because Data Loss is scary. Once Data Loss gets going... Wait, I just stole Cosmo from Data Loss. I totally misplayed. I was supposed to steal from Saga. I thought I was moving with Nero, but I was actually moving with Data Loss. Feels bad. No problem, though. We can summon Snake. We won't have energy to heal, but I think that's okay. We can take 1 turn without healing here. Oh, Snake! Why are you not stunning, bro? Why are you not stunning? Jesus! Jesus! Why is my Snake not stunning? It's supposed to be Snake Showcase! And my Snake's not stunning! Continue to silence this guy. Believe me, this is gonna work. Hopefully, and we're also improving our Marine's heal. Now, since I summoned my Snake in the previous round, I get to use her for free. Can we get a stun here? Please! El Stano! There we go, baby. There we go. And now we gotta get some heal urgently. I am not going to do this now. I need to heal or I'm dead. I absolutely need to heal here. Okay? That's a pretty decent heal. We got our 4 stacks. Juna is stunned, so there will not be a Vine coming up this turn. We do get our Vine up. And here I am going to continue to weaken the Saga, silence the Data Loss, and maybe we can go for a stun on... At this point, I'm not really sure it matters too much. I'm going to get rid of this Saga this turn, for sure. So let's try to stun this Data Loss. Nice stun. Nice stun. We're still alive. This Gemini is going bye-bye. All dragons on him. Goodbye, sir. Pleasure playing against you. Alright, we got revenge on the second fight. The first fight ended horribly. We went a little too aggressive with the double silence, no Marine. It didn't quite work out. This is much smarter gameplay. Let's weaken the Marine heal, yeah? And now we silence this Juna, since our Data Loss, this Data Loss is very conveniently stunned. Can we do it again? Can we do it again? Pow pow? No, only one attack. Feels bad. Feels actual bad. I am not going to release any dragons here. I am going to double hit this guy. Heal up again. I don't think there's any way that he can kill me. I don't think there's any way that he can kill me now. There's no freaking way we lose this at this point. No freaking way. Because they got no June. Continue to silence data loss. Nice. We try to stun him again. That way we don't have to worry about him next round. Hopefully, maybe. Nope. Okay. Enemy Doko Dragons. We have 3 stacks. Do we care? Should we release? No. We go for the full blast. There's no rush here. We got this. Play smart. Play smart. 18,000 heal with 5 stacks of Cosmo. Yeah. That's the power of data loss, baby. There's no way anything can kill me now. Not to 18,000 heal or however much it was. We have 4 stacks. And we're full health. Let's delete this Doko from the face of the earth. Actually, I can't because June is there. Let's try to stun her for the next one. Wow, Snake, you're really not doing what I'm asking you to do, are you? Screw it! All dragons now. We don't need to stun no June. We just dragon right through it. It's taking forever. Alright, the good thing is I don't have to worry about June anymore. I mean, I don't have to worry about data loss anymore, so I'm free to silence this June forever. There will be no more vines coming out. That is the end of your vine story, my friend. We can try to stun this guy just for shits and giggles. No shits and giggles were given today. I don't think we've gotten a single stun since we started fighting this, have we? Not a single stun was given. Fantastic showcase for SCYLLA. Actually, he does stun quite often. This just turned out to be not the fight where he wanted to stun. Which kind of figures. Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. And that Juna did not vine. So let's do this. Let's strengthen our Doko even more. We silence her for next turn. I don't want, just in case this guy doesn't die. Can we get a stun? Something? There we go. A stun and an almost kill. We go with the dragons we have. This game is over. Done dunno. So, that's how you use SCYLLA. You get good damage from him. You get stuns when he feels like it. Like I mentioned when we were talking about the skills. It's not guaranteed though. So he's a very fun unit because there's RNG involved. But it could totally end up backfiring. If you depend on a crucial stun, he could miss it and screw you over. Still, highly recommend building him. He's also good in PvE. He can stun enemies, for example, in the Athena trial. He can proc against certain bosses and maybe clutch the fight for you. And he's pretty decent in Legion boss as well. And that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope the review was useful. He is one of the most fun units in the game, so if you have a chance, if you summon him, give him a try. He can help you out in a lot of areas in the game. We'll be back again soon with another review, or maybe some Galactic Duel that we've been doing lately. If you haven't already, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye!